So, how does an autograph signing get set up? Well, that's today's topic in episode 5 of the Powers Sports Memorabilia Show. I am your host, Matt Powers. Thank you again for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's going to be the great new way for me getting you all this video content. And you may notice a new shirt I'm wearing. Just came in today, Power Sports Memorabilia shirts. Maybe doing a giveaway on these maybe tomorrow over there on the Facebook page. So if you're not a fan over there, make sure you head on over there. So we've all seen these autograph signings. We've all either seen one, been to one, or seen them happening, and we all want to know, hey, how do they all get set up? You know, what's going on behind the scenes? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I've actually done a blog post on this in the past, and I will go ahead and link to that in the description here for you if you want to read through that. But I will just kind of summarize it a little bit and add some extra things to it. And hopefully you guys will get a bunch of information today on how an autograph signing works on behind the scenes, so basically from a dealer perspective. So first thing is getting the athlete. So how do you get the actual athlete to come into either doing a private signing or doing a public signing at your store, okay? So there's one of two ways. First way is you can just deal directly with the athlete themselves. Some athletes are retired now, they don't have any agent, so that's usually the best way if you can find a way to get a hold of them. Social media is a great way for that. Email is another great way. For example, Scotty Thurman, he's many of you guys probably don't know who he is, but made the game-winning shot of Arkansas's national championship in 1994 basketball, and had him sign a bunch of photos and jerseys, and I just shot him an email and said, hey, I know you're down there in Fayetteville. I can come on down there and bring some stuff to you. If you want to sign them, great. We can do it this particular date. And he wrote back and said, sure, that's no problem. We agreed to a price, and that was it. It was probably the easiest signing I had set up. Then you have some other ones where it goes to the agent, and the agent is just kind of the middleman, and he's kind of relaying the information to the athlete, and the athlete's sometimes getting back to him and sometimes not. And that's where it can be a little tricky. Sometimes the agent, it's not their fault, but they've got a bunch of other things going on, and the athlete isn't always responsive, so that could be a little slow sometimes. It can be fast sometimes. I've had it both ways. So typically what you'll do is you reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in doing a signing with so-and-so, and hopefully they already have a price already set up for that athlete. If they don't, you'll need to come to some sort of agreement on the price. Every athlete, in my experience, at least most athletes, will have a guaranteed money that they're going to get for a signing. So let's say you're doing a autograph signing with athlete X, and athlete X says, I need a minimum of $10,000 to show up to your event, okay? You say, okay, fine. How many pieces are you willing to sign for that? And typically, hopefully you'll get, somewhere around a few hundred pieces there, but let's just say, for example, on this one, you're going to be getting 500 pieces, okay? So you're going to say in the contract, hey, you're going to agree to show up on September 1st at this particular location. The signing will be from 1 to 3. You will need to show up from 12 to 1 to sign some of our pieces beforehand and some of the send-in stuff. And we'll agree to pay you this amount of money, and you'll get paid per signature. And of course, some of the lesser items like baseballs and photos will be a less expensive price than the premium items like baseballs and bats and whatnot. So, and then you'll also have an inscription price too. And that'll all be outlined in the contract so everybody's expectations are clear and nobody's feelings get hurt. So that's how it is about getting the athlete, okay? Paying the athlete, cash or check. No Visa card, nothing like that. So you better have the money, and you better pay on time. But no, this isn't like Sopranos or nothing, Some athletes require a deposit, some don't. It just depends who you're working with. Some like to get paid before the signing, some like to get paid after the signing. It just depends on who you're dealing with. Sometimes after the signing is usually the best way, because that way you can tally all up the autographs and say, okay, you signed 100 premium items, 100 non-premium items, and you did 100 inscriptions, okay? Here's the money for that, That's usually how it works. That's probably the best way from the dealer perspective. That way you don't have to fork out all this money up front, and you can wait till the day of, where most customers are probably going to be paying for their item. So that's how it works with paying the item. One of the more important aspects for the dealer side is marketing the event. This is obviously where you're trying to tell all the people, hey, listen, I'm having an autograph signing. So how do you do that? Well, you guys are all familiar probably with some of those channels out there and pages where you can list your autograph signing. And that's a great way to get a hold of people who are really interested in this, obviously. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That's a great way to get all the information out. Usually using the athlete themselves. That's probably one of the best ways, is have the athlete retweet it out or post it on their Facebook page, or I don't think any athletes use any Facebook anymore. Maybe their Instagram page. Say, hey, I'm going to be at this place from this time, signing autographs, come see me. So newspaper is out. We used to do newspaper advertising, 10, 12 years ago, and that is a no-go. That is a waste of money. Radio, waste of money. You get way more bang for your buck on social media nowadays. Okay, probably one of the most important topics is, how is the autograph priced? Now, this is a sticky subject with customers, because obviously, they want to get the autograph for the least amount of price, and us as dealers, we want to give it to you for the least amount of price too. Don't get me wrong, we'd rather charge you $50 for an autograph as opposed to $200 for an autograph. So, but here's how it works. So let's say, for example, athlete X is getting paid $10,000, okay? And he's going to be signing 500 autographs like we already talked about. Let's say your marketing costs are, let's say they're on the high end. Let's say they're $2,000, okay? Let's say you're running, $1,000 of Facebook ads, and you've got 500 in Instagram, and then you've got, maybe 500 in Twitter, whatever you're planning on doing, okay? So now that's an extra $2,000, okay? Now your cost, on top of that, let's say you've got labor, of course, the day of. Let's say you got 10 people working, which for a big signing, that may be possible, maybe on the little high end, but we'll just round up and say you got 1,000 right there, okay? So now you're at $13,000, okay? That's a 30% increase, boom, just right off the bat right there. And this isn't even including, your rent that you have for the place, labor you have outside of the actual day of the signing, where, there's a lot of time that's spent outside of the signing, getting things set up, answering customers' phone calls, emails, getting customers in, making sure they're labeled stuff right, getting the advertising set up, dealing with the athlete and agent. There's a lot of outside labor costs that come into that. So now you're probably looking at, at that $20 autograph, you're probably looking at maybe close to $30 now as your actual cost, including, all the insurance and stuff that you've got to pay for throughout the year, your rent and all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking at $30 for an autograph, obviously you probably got to get 50 to 60, because you got to have a little bit of a buffer there, because the athlete signing probably won't sell out. They usually don't. So you're going to be left over with inventory, and you want to make sure that you've got a little bit of room on those autographs, to not only for that, but also in case customers have issues. For example, like a pen blew up on their photo or their jersey, or they got the wrong inscription, or whatever happened. So you want to make sure you have enough room for everybody there. But yeah, taking on inventory is a huge, huge issue. Because if you're doing 500 pieces, let's say you sell 200 to the public, which, obviously, that sounds great. You've got 200 people in line, but, you've got 300 extra autographs. And that's just in this example, 500 is typically, that's a pretty high number there. But, it's definitely not uncommon. So, something to keep in mind. Ordering product for the event. Typically, photos, you can get those direct from PhotoFile. Those are... you get those in a couple days. You can get them overnight if you needed to. So that's the easiest part. Baseball is another easy part. Jerseys are going to take a while sometimes. People usually don't carry a whole bunch of quantity on those, so sometimes they have to be made. If you're doing those custom jerseys, those take 3 or 4 weeks. So basketballs can sometimes be a couple weeks, just due to the size of those things. Those aren't really kept in stock anywhere, so you may have to pre-order those really quick. But yeah, you always want to let off for at least 3 to 4 weeks to get all your product in. And that's another cost for dealers on top of all that stuff. So now you're paying the athlete, you got to pay all your people, you got to pay all his advertising. Now you got to pay to bring the actual product in to be stocked. Every time you look around the corner, there's another cost, And you got stanchions if you don't have those, tables and all that stuff. Maybe you have to rent. And also a third-party authentication. So if you want to bring in PSA, JSA, Beckett, one of those 3 are going to cost money, and they're going to be a minimum 2. So they're not going to come in and just authenticate 10 items. So. Number 6, probably one of my favorite times of an autograph signing is the day of the event. And you guys have been to signings, you guys know how the day event goes. But typically from a dealer side, you're going to make sure you got all your product all lined up perfectly. So that way the athlete, all they got to do is show up and sign. Everything's labeled perfectly. Less thinking, the better. You've got your line set up if it's a public signing. You've got all the pens prepped. You've got some sheets out there to count the autographs. That's probably one of the most important things. You always want to make sure you have somebody with the athlete. That way that you can say, hey, listen, you signed 100 premiums and 100 non-premiums. Yep, we agree. Boom, paid for that. No big deal, okay? And also that way you can collect tickets too if you've got old school tickets or whatnot. where people can give that to you and say, okay, yes, Joey here gets 2 premium items, and the athlete signs them. And it makes it so much easier from an accounting perspective. And also, you want to make sure that the event is running on time. I know that's sometimes very hard to do if an athlete shows up late or whatever's going on. But try to move the thing really fast. Give people obviously the time if they have the opportunity to say hello to the athlete. Maybe take a quick picture if that's allowed. Obviously, that slows down the line a little bit, but that's really your main goal the day of, is to get people in, out, and let them have a great experience. Obviously, especially with kids. There's nothing better than kids coming in and having a good smile and a great experience with whichever athlete they're seeing. You think you're paying $50 to $60 for an autograph, and you're as a collector you're thinking, no, I'm $50 to $60 out, but as a non-collector you're saying, hey, I'm paying $50 to $60 to have an experience. And for me, that's pretty good bang for your buck. You get an autograph, you get to meet an athlete, and you get to have a whole day experience. So for entertainment value for a whole family of like 4, that's a pretty good bargain right there, I think. So number 7 here, the last thing I want to talk about here is after the event. Usually what a dealer has to do is obviously you got to clean up, do all that stuff there. But really then you got to start shipping out pre-orders and any mail orders that you got in, making sure that those are done perfectly, because that's where it gets kind of confusing. Like somebody sent in this Nike jersey and somebody sent in this Nike jersey. Whose is whose? So that's why it's very important for the pre-work to be done well beforehand. You've got to label and say, hey, this is Joey's, this is Mark's, and have their last name and all in there, all that stuff. So when you go to ship it, work's all done for you, and it's a piece of cake. So that's how an autograph signing works. It's pretty straightforward. I'd say probably the most important part is that getting the athlete and making sure you get the right athlete for an autograph signing, and that the contract is easy understood, and that the pricing works not only for the athlete, but the pricing works for you too, and for the dealer, obviously, because a lot of things change and a lot of things can happen, and an athlete gets hurt and all of a sudden they're not playing as much, and now you got this autograph signing coming up and nobody really wants his autograph anymore. So there are a lot of factors that can go into that. So hopefully this helps you guys out and kind of understanding kind of the dealer side of autograph signings and how they go down. If you guys got any questions on it, obviously let me know. If you guys got any topics for any other shows, let me know. And again, always please hit that subscribe button. I always appreciate it. And be on the lookout for giving away one of these t-shirts there. So again, visit the website, powersportsmemorabilia.com. You got any questions at all, feel free to reach out. I'm always available, okay? Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.